Alright, well, I'm Josie. I guess I'm here to tell you a little bit about how CF affects my life. I was diagnosed with CF when I was 3 months old, and it's all I've known my entire life. Even though I've never known what it's like to live a normal life, I'm old enough to see and understand how it must feel. The fact that I've never experienced that feeling can make me sick with anger and frustration. There were many times I wish I had never had to experience the pain this disease brings me, but every so often I think about it long and hard, and I am grateful for what it has taught me. The past year or so has been a growing experience for me. I had a really rough couple of months at the end of the year, where I was in and out of the hospital every 2 weeks for about 8 weeks. Throughout that time, I experienced the great pain and sheer terror that CF brings to people living with it. I was terrified that I was not going to get better and that I was going to be spending most of my life in the hospital. I do not remember exactly when it happened, but at some point during that time, I'd had a total change of perspective. I realized how lucky I was to even be alive, to have made it as far as I have, and how fortunate I was to be healthy enough to do the things I love. I realized that even though CF has made me absolutely miserable at times, that without it I would not be the person I am. When I was younger, until I was about 7 years old, I was relatively healthy. I had not spent much time in the hospital or on IVs. There were even periods of time where I was completely off of medication besides my enzymes and vitamins. Around the time I turned 8, my health did start to decline. I still had not spent much time in the hospital, but I did a course of IV antibiotics once or twice a year, and was on some sort of oral antibiotic nearly all of the time. At that point, I did not really know I was different. My parents encouraged me to live a very normal life. When I was 9, my grandmother started to take me to horseback riding lessons, a hobby that would later become a passion with a huge influence on my life. When I was 11, I was diagnosed with CF-related diabetes, and I had been in the hospital twice, though for only a few days each time. That was also the year I got my first horse. My horse became a huge part of my life. I did not have very many friends at school, and what little free time I had between school and treatments was spent riding and caring for her. Riding was great exercise for me, and though my doctors had some concerns about the dust around the barn, I believe that the exercise and happiness that horses have brought me has helped keep me healthy. My CF status remained relatively stable until I started high school, but the diabetes was a difficult adjustment for me. When I was 11, having a needle stuck in me every day brought with it some defiant behavior, screaming, crying, running away when it was time for my shots. And then the teenage years began. My freshman year of high school, I was still pretty healthy. I was only hospitalized once a year. When high school began, I started finding it harder to find time to do all the things I wanted to do. I became very involved in theater my freshman year, and I love it. But at that point, my treatments were taking between 3 and 4 hours a day. I had a difficult time accepting that I was not going to be able to do everything all the time, but I've since learned how to balance these things. I have 2 passions, theater and horses, and I try my hardest to be involved with each as much as I can. When I become upset about how limited my time to do these things can be, I just remind myself that I am lucky to be healthy enough to be able to do them at all. My sophomore year, I was hospitalized twice. This year has been the hardest for me, as I was in the hospital 3 times within a 3-month period. Though living with CF is difficult, I still live a very happy and fulfilling life. And I have my family and friends to thank. When I am in the hospital, someone visits me almost every day for 2 weeks. At home, my dad helps me with what can be up to 3 hours of treatments at night and makes sure that I always have all of my medicine. My younger brothers and sisters work harder at fundraising than I do for this walk. My mother and grandmother are always there when I need them. My aunt will often come up to Chicago from Kansas to visit me while I'm in the hospital, and she's here today. And my best friend has spent much time with me in the hospital, supporting me emotionally and even physically. She learned how to do my CPT treatments. I'm on IVs right now, and she has spent the entire week in my house doing CPT treatments for me every few hours. I just want to thank everyone that is here supporting me today. You have no idea how much it means to me. I am lucky enough to have been born during a time where medicine has been progressing rapidly, where doctors understand so much about how this disease works, and new treatments for CF are discovered so often. I'm just beginning to see how incredible it is that today our wonderful doctors are able to treat this disease. 50 years ago, people diagnosed with CF rarely lived long enough to attend grade school. I'm celebrating my 17th birthday next month, and hopefully many more after that. I plan to go away to college when I graduate high school in a year. As wonderful as my family is, I am growing up, and just like nearly every other teenager, I cannot wait to move out. I have plans and hopes for my future. I have a future. None of this would be possible without the CF Foundation and all the people that support it. They really are adding tomorrows every day.
Thank you, Josie. All right, next I'm going to bring up somebody to the stage, Maureen Tinley, and she's going to speak just for a few brief moments about the importance of clinical trials. So everybody, here's Maureen.